back to the next in our series of Lone Wolf Choose Your Own Adventure novels, The Caverns of Kalte. We are in the third episode of this particular book, where we have left our hometown to travel after and try to capture Vonator the Traitor, who basically kind of helped start all of the evil stuff that happened in the first couple of books. We traveled to the iceland of the barbarians of Kalte and ended up getting separated from our guides, got trapped in some tunnels, but those tunnels did eventually lead us to the Akraa'Neonor fortress where Vonator is supposed to be held after fighting a rather what seemed like it was going to be a scary battle, but ended up being relatively easy. We found this gentleman here, Akraa'Neonor, who was actually the person who teleported Vonator away from the home area into this area that we're in now. He was forced to. His family and stuff would have been killed if he hadn't, and he is offering to help us to find the staff that he used to make that happen, so that we can not only capture Vonator, but also teleport back to our ship before time runs out. So we're going to go ahead and continue with our journey here. A couple of reminders for people who have watched videos before, and for those of you who haven't seen anything, created this Excel spreadsheet, which is a version of the action chart that we're using. I've updated it a bunch of times, and I think I like the way it's laid out at this point. And then we are using the text-to-speech feature from the Microsoft Edge browser to allow us to have a narration so that I don't have to talk as much. So if you wonder why we're doing that, it's because the first couple of books I narrated it all myself and my voice was hurting. So let's continue on. Oh, what? Okay, I don't think we have a glowing crystal. Okay, so we'll turn to 44. Here we go. So we're going to follow Akraa'Neonor, and hopefully he's going to help us get quickly to where we need to go.
Follow me, says Akraa'Neonor. I've listened to the sounds of Akraa'Neonor for over a year, and the secret sliding doors and the hidden routes here are no mystery to me. I have learnt more about these corridors and passages from the confines of my cell than Vonator has discovered with all of his cunning. You follow the old magician through a network of secret passages and tunnels, up long flights of stairs and into chambers dark and cold. At the top of one very steep staircase, you come to a stone door. A strange, sickly smell is seeping from a small spy hole. The kitchens, whispers Akraa'Neonor, showing his distaste for Akraa'Neonor cuisine by sticking out his tongue and grimacing. You can see that this secret door opens next to a fireplace in which burns a roaring fire. Hanging over the fire is a large stone cauldron of gruel. Two ice barbarians sit at a table nearby with empty bowls in front of them.
Okay, well, we don't possess either of these potions, so it looks like we're going to be forced to fight. Again, to remind you guys, every page that we go through that does not have a combat sequence in it, we get to restore health. So I don't remember if I did for this one, so I'm going to assume that I did. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3. So we'll remove 3 damage from this. 11, 10, 9, 8. All right.
The ice barbarians are taken completely by surprise. You have killed one of them before the other has time to react to your attack. He is unarmed but determined to fight you.
Okay, so combat in this works by taking our combat skill, subtracting their combat skill, and then finding the correct ratio on the table over here. So 14 to 23 is what, plus 9? Yeah, plus 9. So we're going to be using this. That row of results there. We're going to put our starting value of 20 and their starting value of 25, and then we are going to, I just use a d10. So we're going to roll a d10 for each round of combat and find out where the results are. So we rolled a 7, going down to the 9. He takes 16 points of damage and we take nothing, so that's good. So 25 minus 10 would be 15, minus another 6 would be 9. And then we roll again, and ideally we won't take any damage. Ugh, we rolled a 1. So he takes 8 damage, we take 3 damage. So we're down to 17. And then he's definitely going to die this next round, but we just got to see if we take any damage. A 4. So he takes 10 and we take 2. So we're down to 15. I really need to figure out a better way to track damage on this because it's making it... I have to figure out how to get it down to 15 from 26. So that's what, 7? Or... I need to get it down to 15, so I need to add another 5 damage. Okay, there we go. I'm not good at math, even just basic addition in my head, so it is what it is. Moving on with the story.
You drag the bodies out of the kitchen and prop them behind the secret door.
Oh, wait.
When you return, Loichaimar is busy examining the bottles of herbs that line the kitchen shelves. He pockets several jars and mixes the contents of 2 others in a small stone bowl. He offers you a handful of the dry leaves and urges you to eat them. They will restore your strength, lone wolf. You eat the sweet-tasting herbs and feel a warm glow radiating throughout your body. Restore 6 endurance points to your current total.
Excellent.
We're on the same level as the hall of the Brumalmarc, whispers Loichaimar, peering through a crack in the kitchen door. It's at the end of this corridor. 2 ice barbarians stand beside the jewel-encrusted doors that lead to the Great Hall. They are covered from head to toe in strange bone armor, and armed with crystal swords. The old wizard steps back from the door and says, "We must deal with them silently and swiftly." He takes 3 jars from his pockets and mutters a strange incantation as he mixes the contents together in a stone bowl. There is a pitcher of water on the table. He splashes a few drops onto the herbs, and wisps of blue smoke arise. This will silence the guards if we can move it close enough to them.
Well, it seems like the mind over matter, which allows us to move small objects, is probably the best option for that, so let's do that.
You draw on all your powers of concentration to levitate the bowl of fuming herbs, and send it hovering along the corridor. You bring it to rest in the shadow of the pilaster and watch its effects with great curiosity, for in less than a minute, the ice barbarian guards have collapsed to the floor. "Now's our chance," whispers Loichaimar, and he ushers you out of the kitchen. You approach the hall of the Brumalmarc undetected and discover that one of the magnificent jeweled doors is unlocked. Drawing your weapon, you gently push the door ajar and enter Vanator's chamber.
Wow, that was quick. Alright, let's see what happens.
The hall of the Brumalmarc is a vast chamber constructed of crystal blocks rising to a central plateau. On this stands the Brumalmarc throne, as old as Akraa'Neonor itself. There, Vanator sits, surrounded by the tomes and eldritch trappings of a necromancer. He is wrapped in study and does not see you enter the hall. He remains oblivious to your presence until Loichaimar sneezes. "Who dares disturb me?" he hisses, rising from the Brumalmarc throne, his eyes searching for an intruder. Upon seeing you, he emits a horrified gasp and fumbles for his black staff. He has the look of a criminal who has been discovered in the act of some dreadful crime. Quickly you raise your weapon and begin to climb the crystal pyramid. You know that you have little time to reach him if you are to overpower and capture him alive. You reach the edge of the plateau in time to see a wide circle of blocks descending around the throne. Between you and Vanator, a deep moat is forming. Then from the depths of the moat you hear a ghastly, inhuman gibbering. You brace yourself for combat but are totally unprepared for the horror that now faces you. From out of the dark slithers a huge, ghoulish, green monster. Its deformed head is a mass of tentacles and suckers that ooze a putrid black slime. At the center of this writhing mass a hideous yellow eye pulsates. Vanator has control over this monster and he is directing it towards you.
Alright, well, we don't have the effigy, but we do possess the summer sword, so let's go to there.
The tentacled horror rises from the moat and attacks you. You glimpse Vanator raising his black staff and fixing his gaze towards Loichaimar. He is attacking the old magician with his mind force. You realize that if Loichaimar is killed, the secret of the guild staff will die with him. Before you can do anything else, you must fight the monster to the death. This is an Akraa'Neonor, one of the undead. Remember to double all endurance points lost by this enemy during the combat, due to the power of the Sommersword.
Okay, so we have to fight this, and apparently we have to win the combat in 5 rounds or less, so to get whatever this option is. And if it takes longer, then we're probably going to lose what's his face, and we're going to be trapped here. So that's not good. But it looks like we don't have anything that's going to make us weaker. So we're going to be right here at the 0. It has the same combat skill as we do. We are going to start out with 23 hit points. It has 50, but we are going to do double damage because the Summer Sword does double damage against undead. So combat ratio is 0. And let's fight this dude. We rolled a 6. So it takes 8 damage, 16 damage, and we take 2 damage. So we'll go down to 21. And equals 50 minus 16. Okay. Roll again. Roll high. Roll high. 6 again. 16 equals this minus 16. And we take another 2 damage, right? Yep. 6. Yeah, we take another 2 damage. We're down to 19. Roll again. A 0. Awesome. It's going to take 12, 24 damage. We just killed it. And we took no damage. And that only took us, what, 2 rounds? So we definitely got what we needed. We got what we needed. All right. We'll delete all of that. Oh, wait. We were down to 19 damage. So 20, 23, 22, 20, or we're down to 19 damage. So what, 9? There we go. All right. Yeah, I got to figure out a better system for doing that because it requires too much math. The whole point of using the spreadsheet is to make it easy. Okay, so we're down to 19 hit points, but we did win the combat pretty quickly, so we can go ahead and move to this one.
As the vile Akraa'Neonor quivers and dies, Vonator breaks off mind combat and runs back towards the Brumalmarc throne. Loichaimar is badly shaken, but he has survived the ordeal. He quickly joins you at the edge of the moat and casts a handful of herbs down into the darkness. Within seconds, a mass of vines and creepers coil upwards to form a bridge. You are halfway across the bridge when Vonator suddenly reappears, a crystal rod held high in his hand. He takes aim at the mass of creepers and a chilling cone of frost hurtles from the rod's tip.
Okay. So we do possess a Summer Sword, so it allows us to have a special item here, so hopefully that's going to save us from whatever's about to happen.
You point the Sommersword towards Vonator's crystal rod. In an instant, the cone of frost arcs away from the bridge and shatters against the golden sword. You hear Vonator curse you as, once again, the power of the Sommersword saves you from his destructive magic.
All right.
Your time has come, shouts a voice, but it is Loichaimar and not Vonator who now speaks. A knot of herbs flies through the air and hits Vonator squarely in the chest. In an instant, the hunchback wizard is engulfed in a tangle of vines that ensnare him from head to toe. Loichaimar bridges the moat with more creepers and joins you on the platform. Be sure to remove his rings and amulets, he says, as he busily searches for his guild staff. He is a master of trickery. We would not want him to miss the special homecoming that awaits him in Sommerlund. You marvel at the old man's composure. After such a desperate fight, he seems completely unruffled. Ah! Here she is, he announces triumphantly as he withdraws his guild staff from beneath the Brumalmarc throne. You pass him your map of Kalte and point out the location of the Cardinal. I'll not be needing that, he replies, a little contemptuously. Maps are invariably wrong, I prefer to rely on my own sense of direction. The old magician raises his staff and a dazzling beam of light shoots from its tip. He makes 3 wide sweeps of the air and the hall of the Brumalmarc is transformed into an umbrella of color.
Impressive.
As the colors fade, you become aware of a sudden drop in temperature. You now stand upon the Ljuk ice shelf at a point less than half a mile from where the Cardinal lies at anchor. Loichaimar and Vonator are close by, both shivering in the chill morning air. Within minutes you are sighted by the ship's lookout and a longboat is dispatched. As a wriggling Vonator is hoisted unceremoniously aboard the Cardinal and deposited in the brig, the captain is the first to congratulate you on your skill and daring. But how did you manage to return so quickly? He asks incredulously. We were not expecting you for another 10 days. Let us say, interrupts Loichaimar, that the wisdom of the Kai and the lore of the Magicians Guild can surpass the limitations of even time itself. A puzzled expression crosses the captain's face, but it is gradually replaced by a smile as he begins to understand the magician's curious answer. Your journey to Enskaven is swift, but you are saddened by your memories of the brave guides that were left behind. Your arrival in the port is greeted by an anxious crowd. They fear that your early return is a sign of your mission's failure. When the news of Vonator's capture becomes known, your warrior skills are required once again, this time in the defense of your enemy against the seething mob of outraged Somlanding that assault Enskaven jail. Safe passage is eventually secured to Torin, where trial awaits the traitor. Upon the dawn of the Feast of Maesmarn, in the depths of the Guildhall of the Crystal Star, Vonator the traitor is tried by his brotherhood and found guilty of his terrible crimes. He is led away in silence to the deepest chamber of the Guildhall, wherein lies the Daisiarn, a portal of total darkness, the door of an eternal prison from which there can be no escape. 5. You are the avenger of his crimes, and it is you who cast the wretched traitor into the limbo of Daisiarn. Your mission is now completed. You have survived the caverns of Kalte and freed Sommerlund from the menace of Vonator. But the heat of battle and the challenge of a new and desperate quest awaits you in Book 4 of the Lone Wolf series entitled The Chasm of Doom.
And that, my friends, will end Book 3 in this Lone Wolf series of Choose Your Own Adventure novels. This time we only had one death, and that's actually pretty impressive compared to what we've been doing in the previous books. So the Summer Sword is really making a huge difference because it's really bumping our combat skill up. Most of the fights in this were pretty tame compared to what we've been fighting in the past. But I appreciate you sticking out with the story. I hope you're enjoying the saga that's unfolding in front of us, and I hope you will return next time to find out what happens in Book 4, The Chasm of Doom. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day, and see you next time.